What's up everybody, Swillow here, and today I'm going to be bringing a special video where I'm going to kind of give like a year later overview or review of Dynasty Warriors 9 and all the changes it's made since its initial launch. So let's just go back to like when it launched. When this game launched, there was a lot of criticism. There was criticism for the game's performance. The game had some really awful performance, frame rate issues, and other things. It just was really hard to enjoy the game because of the performance issues that it had at launch. And other people were disappointed because of the changes. They've added open world and a lot of cloned weapons and stuff like that. So it's been a year now, a little over a year actually, and they've had a ton of updates, a lot of DLC. So I'm going to kind of go over where the game is in its current state. So first thing I want to mention is the performance issues have pretty much been ironed out. You know, maybe like on the base PS4 there's some little imperfections here or there, but basically the game is playable. If the game launched like this, people wouldn't have been making a deal about the performance. So it's good to say that the performance issues have been ironed out and the game just runs properly and you don't really have to worry about like big frame rate hiccups and stuff like that. On top of that, let's just go over some of the features. So basically first I'm going to just talk about some of the features they've added, and then I'm going to go over like my personal opinion, how I feel about what they've been doing. So as you can see here on the main menu, you can already see some new stuff like online play. They have online play, and online play is great, but nobody's really playing the game now, quite frankly. This is the unfortunate thing about this game, is a lot of people have not been actively following it as it updates. They've been doing a lot of updates, but most people kind of left already. You know, once the game launched and had that big wave of criticism, the game just sort of fell under the radar. So a lot of people probably don't even realize they've been doing a lot of active updates to the game. And online play is one of the things they added. I've actually never been able to play online yet. The one time I tried to play online, like I spent about 10 minutes just trying to load into somebody's game and I gave up. So, and then every other time I've tried to play, like literally nobody's on. I tried to host my own games, I could never get anybody to join, and I would search for lobbies, there was none available. So I honestly can't even tell you, like, I can tell you what I've heard. I've heard that it takes a long time to load into someone's session, and maybe the netcode isn't as good as it could be, but I don't know. I can't really have an opinion on online because there's nobody playing the game and nobody using the feature to try it. So let's just jump into a free mode here and I'll go over some other updates they've added. So I want to say first off, they've updated the game a lot, but at the same time, it's a lot of quality of life updates, I guess you could say. Like a lot of things that maybe the game should have had at launch, or things that people have kind of had problems with as they were playing the game, so they felt like these were good ideas to add. Alright, let's just get in here and then I can start showing off some stuff. So basically the way this update situation has been is it's been a combination of free updates, which the free updates are the major ones. They've been adding like actual game mechanic changes and new features in general, and then they've had DLC. They've had like 3 season passes. They're on the 3rd season pass right now, that have been kind of decloning characters with unique weapons and adding other little things like characters and scenarios and stuff. So okay, first thing, let's go to the tutorial screen. The tutorial screen has a lot of these new elements added. So in the most recent update, they just added a bodyguard system. The bodyguard system lets you find actual officers within towns and stuff, and they will join you and fight alongside of you, which is actually really cool. This is probably one of the best updates that they've added since they've been adding updates. It's kind of cool to have someone fight alongside you. You can actually change their equipment and all that stuff too, level them. It's basically like you're playing like 2 players, but not really 2 players. You know, if that makes sense. You can this is a good way to build up another character on the side, so while you're playing as one character, you can get a bodyguard of another character and level them up, you know, gear them up the way you want. So it's pretty cool. It's like it's a fun game element, and it's kind of like killing two birds with one stone. Another thing here, they added animals in this recent update where you can find the animals on the map and you can actually capture them with boxes or tranquilizer and stuff like that, and then they will fight alongside of you, which is once again really cool. The thing with the animals is they actually have more unique properties. You could say they're more like a class-based ally. Like you have healers, the attackers, defenders, stuff like that. So this is actually really cool how they handled the animals. It actually goes here to say you can take animals with you, or you can have them guard your hideaways and stuff like that, which I don't know if that's actually relevant gameplay wise. I don't think your hideaways ever get attacked or anything like that. It might be more of an aesthetic thing, but it's cool. Like, this is probably one of the neater updates that they just did recently with the bodyguards and the animals. They've also added an arena, which is what I've been in front of right here. This is pretty much where I've been spending a lot of time. They added an arena where battle streak is like you literally fight within this little arena space right here, and you're just fighting waves of officers back to back, and that's pretty standard fare. I guess it's just good. Probably the thing that bothers me the most about it is the loading times in between battles, because sometimes you'll be winning battles faster than it takes to start the next one, which is kind of, I don't know, it kind of kills the momentum and the flow. Rampage, they just added in the past update as well, which is, there's not a lot to it. You're just trying to kill a lot of enemies and get a high score in 10 minutes, which is really simple. I guess it's kind of addicting if you're kind of like me and you like to get on the leaderboards and stuff, because I was going pretty hard trying to get to the top of the leaderboards. Let me actually see if I'm still high on the leaderboard. I was actually ranked number 2 last time I tried, but I might be a little lower now. Nope, I'm still ranked number 2. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, you know, if you're like a leaderboard monster, which I kind of am, Rampage can be fun. It's also a nice way to grind as well. One of the new features they added, the new gym type called Lord Gems, which I'll go over in a little bit. But you can kind of grind Lord Gems, work on your leaderboard stuff, and at the same time, which is really cool. The mode itself is not that great, but I've gotten a lot of value out of it just because I'm like a leaderboard monster. Let me kind of show the rewards. So you see, like, as you score so many points, you can get these rewards. So you get 5,000, you get that, such and such. So, it's pretty standard fare stuff. It's like a nice little detour, a nice way to grind, or just like a nice way to focus on the combat system. But it's kind of lacking in things to do, so I guess the amount of fun you get out of it just kind of depends on your expectations. See what else they added. They added a break system. Okay, so certain enemies will have... Let me actually try to get into a battle so that I can show this off. This is like a sort of thing that I want to actually show off. Okay. So they added a break system. And I guess if you're familiar with other video games, RPGs, stuff like that, basically before you can really start dealing some serious damage to enemies, they have like this break bar where it kind of protects them from just getting completely wiped out right away. Which they added this to like powerful enemies or like critical officers and missions and stuff to kind of give them, I don't know, like a higher tier of power or durability, since the game was reaching a point where it was very easy to just steamroll everything. So I guess this was their way of trying to give enemies a little more durability and fighting chance. So let's kind of read. Let's read about it first before I go into the battle. So break. Certain enemies have a break gauge. The gauge will decrease as you continue to attack such enemies, and they will be temporarily weakened when the gauge becomes empty. They also have an elemental weakness system now as well. Certain enemies possess elemental attributes. The elements of flames and ice are weak to each other, and as are lightning, wind, and slash and poison. You can determine the type of element that your enemy possesses by the effect generated when they attack. So this means you gotta kind of observe your enemy to see what their element is, and then you can hit them with their weakness. Trigger attacks nullify. So this is another feature they added where when an enemy's kind of like pumping up a strong attack, it'll show on screen like a prompt of you can do a certain trigger attack like a launcher or a knockdown, and it will like kind of stagger and knock them out of that. So let's go to description. Some attacks dealt by enemies are preceded by charging actions, and such actions can be nullified by trigger attacks. If you land a corresponding trigger attack before the enemy delivers their attack, you can prevent the enemy's attack and cause them to lose their balance. So this is just another mechanic that kind of makes the gameplay a little less mindless, you could say. Gives rewards you more for being more observant and reactive to what your enemy is doing, which is all neat. I want to say the culmination of all these elements, the break, the trigger attack nullifies, elemental weakness and stuff, really doesn't change the combat a lot. It really doesn't. I feel like you can get away with a lot of the same strategies you were getting away with before they added this stuff. It just might, I don't know, take a little bit longer. It does help if you try to use these mechanics. It definitely, I mean, it helps for sure, but these mechanics are not as overwhelming as they might sound. Like when you read this, you might think, oh, well, now I gotta do all this different stuff. Not really. You can still just kind of destroy the enemies with oppressive offense and combos and stuff. So you're definitely rewarded for utilizing these mechanics effectively, but at the same time, they're not in, I don't know, they're just not prominent enough to feel like, whoa, this changes the dynamic of the game. It doesn't. It really doesn't. So let's actually fight. I guess before I even fight this as well, this is another thing that was added in the update. So they added these sort of these special, I don't know how do you describe them? Maybe they're in the tutorial. Let me see if they're in the tutorial. But they're basically like super powered animal bosses. They're basically like, you could say, a post game. Like if you're playing an RPG, they're the equivalent of a super boss. No, this is not it. That was already a part of the game. But these are basically like, you know, when you're playing Final Fantasy and you see like Omega Weapon or something like that, it's like a super boss. These are like super bosses. So these enemies are high power. They deal a lot of damage. They have really high stats all around, and they drop decent rewards, I guess. The rewards they're important for another new mechanic they added called synthesis, which is where you can go into, let me go into my equipment real quick and show this off. So if you look at my the attributes of my accessory right here, my fine agarwood, so normally each accessory has its standard attributes. So this was restore plus 19 stamina every 1 second, and if you see under it, there's a little box. Now this little box, as you see here, the box is blank for this accessory, but here I have dash rotations plus 1. So you can synthesize abilities onto your accessories to sort of give them more flexibility and customization. And these customization parts mainly come from fighting these super powered animals I'm about to show you. So this is a cool feature they added as well, the synthesis. It lets you kind of get more value out of your accessories. The accessory system was actually one of the neat things about this game, but I think a lot of people would agree that it was very limited, because you would get a lot of really, really cool accessories that are fun to use, accessories that you feel like you need because their effects are so important for general gameplay. So it became hard to choose. It became hard to choose like what to bring, because there were so many accessories and so little spaces. So as you can see here, I put something like dash rotations on here because I like to have more air dashes, but at the same time, do I want to waste a whole accessory slot just to get more air dashes? It doesn't feel worth it. So now I can put it on an accessory that's actually important for me, and you know, it helps out. Then here I have like the jump cancel, the flame wheels on my Heaven and Earth gauntlets, because I really like that, but at the same time, it's another one of those accessories where it's like, do I really want to waste a slot to have this kind of thing, you know? So the synthesis ability has been really cool. Let me actually prep up for this. I'm not geared up properly for this battle. I like to bring my warrior plates with me when I go into this fight, so that I have a lot of defense. I don't really need mobility in this fight, so I'm going to lose a lot of mobility, but I don't really need it. I'd rather have a lot more strength and defense. So I just use 3 warrior plates for these fights. Let's see which other one looks nice. What else have they added that I can show before I get in here? I mean, they've added little stuff like emotes that you can set. I guess this was more supposed to be in line with online play, to have emotes so that you could use with other players. Small little things like that. They've added, what else did they add? They added a photo mode. You know, you can take a picture. So here we are, Zonkui, the grave of the animal that he's about to slay and put back in. I don't know. Oh, you can even change weather and all this. This is some dreary stuff. Fast camera, what is that? I can change the wind direction. Wow, this is pretty serious. I feel like this is just the kind of detail maybe they should put in other elements of the game. Slow the wind down. Wait, how do I actually take the picture? I don't know. Effects. Well, I'm just trying to take the picture, quite frankly. Oh, that's ugly. Oh, you can put some little text bubbles and stuff. Alright, let me get out of this. Okay, so they have a photo mode. Let's fight this thing. I can talk about the break gauge. So, where's he at? He didn't spawn? I mean, it says he spawned, but I don't see him. Oh boy. I feel like I just got myself in a lot of trouble right now. I feel like I just glitched the game. I definitely feel like I just glitched the game. Alright, so let's... I don't know what to do. Why is it? It's kind of like leading me all the way over here, I think. Let's just go over here. Guys, I think we just found a bug. This has never happened before. I can find an enemy with a break gauge in here. So this will work. Oh. This will work out.
I am Wen Yang, son of Wen Qin.
Right over here. There we go. So you see below his health bar, he has the little break gauge.
I am Wen He.
And basically, by using like different things like reactive attacks, the trigger break attacks that I was talking about earlier and such, you can help like lower it faster than usual. Or you could just lower it by straight out attacking. Now, my character is kind of overpowered right now, so I didn't really get to demonstrate breaking his gauge. I just straight up overwhelmed him. That didn't really work out. Let's try to go back to this thing. Oh man. Alright, I'm trying to give you guys this overview right now, but it's working against me. It's working against me just a little bit. Alright, so let's try this again.
My strength has proven insufficient. I must redouble
my
efforts in the training yard and do better next time.
Here's our wolf boy. So as you see as I attack him, the break gauge is starting to lower. he won't really start taking serious damage until it breaks. All right, so here's the. Oh, I missed that. But you see the X appeared in that little cursor, which is where I could deal like heavy amount of break damage. I'm just kind of waiting for his little wind effect to go off. Until his wind effect goes off, you can't really damage him. Alright, here we go. Okay, so now that the break gauges... There we go, I just did a reactive attack. So you see the amount of damage. I don't know if you can see the amount of damage I was doing per hit there, but I just took like life bars, chunks of life bars from him once the break gauge was removed. And you see he dropped some fragments, Books of Muso. The Books of Muso was added. It was one of the first updates they added where you can kind of use them to reverse upgrade stats you did. You can reverse them and change the stats, or you can add extra attributes from just what you normally get leveling up. So I actually have some extra to put this in my defense. And honestly, that's about it. There's a lot of other little quality of life features they made, like to the world map, fast traveling towns and stuff. But it's pretty much the same game. These updates, so I guess since I've kind of talked about what the updates are, I want to talk more about my opinion of the updates. So basically, the game has gotten better, but it's a year later. So if you come back to a game a year later and this is all they've added, it feels underwhelming to me, personally. Maybe some people are more excited than about it than I am, but mainly for me it's like this. They're adding ways to make your character stronger. They're adding ways to customize your character more, but they haven't actually added like a post game, like challenging content to engage in. They did add a higher difficulty. They added ultimate difficulty, which is harder, but at the same time you can still beat ultimate difficulty with the same gear that you got when the game came out. So let me just create a situation right here. If you bought this game the first day it came out, right, in a week you maxed out your character, you beat the game, you optimized your character, you know, you got your character all decked out in the best gear, your favorite gear, whatever. You can still beat everything they've added to this game with that character. Ultimate mode, the strong animal I just showed you. That's pretty much how I am. I've barely really dived in. The thing is, I haven't really dived into a lot of these new elements. I jump on just enough to kind of see what exactly they are, but it's like, okay, my character is still a boss without even using all these new features. So it's like, what's the point? You want to keep making your character stronger and stronger and stronger for what? There's no content to use this strong character on. You just keep getting stronger, but you don't have anything to use it on. So this is where the updates have really disappointed me, because it's like, what's the point? You just keep getting stronger for nothing. So I feel like they need to add something that makes all the strength you're getting worth it, you know, like put you to the challenge, give you a reason to actually get bodyguards, get all the animals and level them up. You know, like I was talking about gyms earlier, actually they added a new gym type. So they added a new gym tier called Lord Gyms. So as you see, like before, the Vermilion Bird Gym used to be the highest tier of Fire Gym. Now they have these Lord Gyms. And the Lord Gyms, honestly, the Lord Gyms may not technically be a higher tier. They're more of like a flexible tier. So basically they have completely random properties on them. If you look at the properties from one gym to the next, they're completely different. There's no like standard. Like if you look at Vermilion Bird Gyms, they're always going to have like the same core attributes and maybe a little bonus attribute at the bottom. These Lord Gyms kind of just they're more like a more dynamic gym. So they're not necessarily better or worse than what was already there. But if you're looking for something a little more specific or flexible, that's pretty much where the Lord gyms come in. But I don't know. Basically, like I was saying, they've added a lot of neat new elements to the game, but they don't have anything to do with them. So I've talked about this a lot, like if you're in my Discord or on forums and stuff like that. Like I feel like they need to add like a special kind of mode or area, like a special castle or a dungeon or just something really cool that can like kind of push your character to the limits, that focuses on the gameplay and like gives you a lot of really challenging battles and scenarios and stuff. And then it's like, okay, all this customization elements they're adding, they become really cool because you have something to use them on. The main thing with this game is once you beat the game, there's like not really anything to do. That's my biggest gripe with this game, is it's fun to play and then you beat it and then you realize there's nothing after. So if you take other warrior games, for instance, I can use any word like Dynasty Warriors. Once you beat the story mode, you go play Ambitions mode. I think that's what it's called, Ambitions mode. That's where you go after you finish story, and you spend all your time there just having fun, upgrading your characters and stuff. If you play like One Piece Pirate Warriors 3, once you beat the story mode, you go and play Dreamlog, and then Nightmare Dreamlog. So other warrior games always give you this mode to go to after you finish a story. Once you finish a story in Dynasty Warriors 9, now the story in Dynasty Warriors 9, to be fair, is a lot more in-depth than other games, but at the same time, it still doesn't change the fact that once you beat the story in this game, there's nothing really to do. When other warrior games give you something to do. Fire Emblem Warriors has its history mode, Hyrule Warriors has adventure mode, Berserk Muso has infinite eclipse. Every other warrior game, mostly every other warrior games, and you could say the warrior games that are probably not that good are all in the same boat as this game. They don't have anything to do after the fact. So it's very important for when you play a warriors game that you have something to do once you finish the story, so that you can just focus on playing Muso. And that's where this game is lacking. It's completely missing the element of replayability. And they keep updating the game in a way that doesn't make any sense because we don't have anything to replay. I don't want to replay this story. I mean, that's me personally. Maybe some people want to, but I don't want to. It's not challenging. You've already seen it. It's sort of a one-time thing. So you just get stuck in this loop of like, oh wow, they have these new features, but I still don't really have anything to use them on. And I'm pretty much repeating myself at this point, but yeah, I think you get the idea. Also, let's talk about the DLC. So the DLC is completely insane. They have 3 season passes, right? Each of these season passes costing $30 or more. And what do these season passes compose of? They pretty much just compose of, they've added some new weapons, right? Let me actually go to a character that I bought a DLC weapon for. I haven't bought most of them because I'm not even gonna lie, to me they're a ripoff. I'll just be blunt. The DLC in this game is a ripoff. The biggest ripoff I've ever seen. But luckily you don't really have to buy any of the DLC. All of the best updates they've had have been free updates. So if you just focus on the free updates, you're okay. And then maybe buy DLC for the characters that you really, really like. But if you actually buying all these season passes, you're getting ripped off. I'm the biggest fan of warrior games and Koei, but Tecmo, but these guys are robbing us with these season passes. They're insanely priced. The content is laughable. It's wrong what they're doing. Completely wrong. It's disgusting. But I'm gonna kind of show off what little DLC I have bought. They have costumes. They have weapons, which are kind of decloning characters. But even these weapons you buy, they're not even complete. They don't have unique trigger attacks and they don't have Muso attacks, right? So it's like, here we go. I have Lulinkui. I think that's how you say her name. When the game launched, she had the sword and shield. So just recently she got her her little pikes, dual pikes or whatever they're called, back. So it's cool. It's cool,
Our target
but
has
at the
been
same
determined.
time,
Capturing that area will deflate their morale.
it kind of goes back to what I was saying. There's not really any content to come back to. You know, like maybe you can replay some content and have a new weapon. These new weapons are neat. Some of them, they kind of have little features to them. Like when you do a trigger attack with this, you can press a direction, and you'll see the pike will go like left or right.
Capturing that area
or
will
not.
deflate their morale.
I guess I forgot how to do this. Yeah, you see like it'll come back a different way depending on what you press. I think this probably works out a little better if I'm doing it against an actual enemy. There you go. Like you can see, I can throw it forward, or I can throw it like to the side, or some weird stuff like that. I don't know. It's just kind of hard without being locked onto something.
Capturing that area will deflate their morale.
They've also, like I said, they had costumes, they have new characters, and they've had some new story chapter scenarios. The new characters are whatever because they're all using recycled weapons. They do have like unique Musos, but I don't know. Unless you're just like super attracted to the aesthetic of the character, you don't get a lot of value out of them. It's more of the same. I mean, they are kind of cool. Their movesets are a little different, but we're still at the position where we don't really have that post-game content I was talking about. So it's like, why do we need more characters? Why do we need more weapons? Why do we need more this and that when we still don't have like the replayability we need to use it all on? The little story chapters they've added are neat, but you beat them super fast. You beat them incredibly fast. You know, like half hour, move on, never play them again kind of thing. So I feel like the DLC is a kind of a ripoff, or it's more like you just gotta buy like what you actually see and like you see a weapon you really like, or a weapon for your character you really like, or a costume, and you buy that. Only that. You do not buy the full season pass because it's crazy. You know, hopefully eventually they release a complete edition for this game or something along that lines. But right now, the free updates are more than enough, and you buy DLC on a personal preference basis is pretty much what I can recommend. The game is still the game has gotten better. It just hasn't gotten enough better. It's too little. It's a too little, too late sort of situation. They're not adding enough at a fast enough rate, and they're not. And even after a year, it's like, can you really come back to this game? You can, but you're probably not gonna be overwhelmed with the amount of stuff to do. I mean, there's stuff to do, but it's just like optimizing your character further and further for no reason. There's currently no reason to be any more optimal than what the base game allowed you to be. So that's how it is. This is just my little 1 year update. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll probably make another video for this, but I'm gonna try to get back big in content creating. I have my job situation has changed, so I have more time to create content. I'm gonna be making a Patreon. I'll put in the description, so if you want to help with that, I'm gonna put my Discord link. If you want to chat, as always, I will come into my Discord. I'm very active in there, as we have a lot of other active members in there as well. Anytime you want to talk, you know, I'm gonna add all my links in the description. Thank you so much for watching this. I definitely rambled a bit. I repeated myself a lot, but just to kind of give like the big outlook on this is the game has improved. The performance issues have been ironed out, so you don't have to worry about performance anymore. They've added a lot of neat new things, but it's not enough. The DLC is a ripoff, the biggest ripoff. The game is cool. You can buy it really cheap now, so honestly, if you want to dive in now and play the game in its current state for cheap, It's not a bad deal actually. It's actually a great deal. I mean, I don't regret buying the game full price. So, you know, buying it at like $10 or $20 now is actually a pretty good deal. So that's about it. Like I said, leave a comment if you have any extra questions. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for watching.